Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. As you can see, after a couple of weeks of my camera on the monitor not working, it miraculously decided to start working again. So here we are. I am your host, Doug Engler. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I am going solo right now. Darren is in the process of transporting a chicken coop, so he's going to be a little bit late joining us. Our other co-host, Angela, has every fourth Sunday they do a RPG game night, and it got moved up due to Easter being next week, so she may be late if she joins us at all. So you have me tonight joining, chatting. Like I said, Darren's going to join us in a little bit. Unfortunately, our guest, Puchi Con, ended up getting ill and had to cancel. We are going to reschedule them. Puchi Con is going to be joining us next Saturday here for a special 1 hour show, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on our YouTube channel. So it's going to be fun to chat with them about the upcoming Puchi Con that's going to be going on in May, that we are a proud sponsor of. I'm excited about going to that. I did want to start the show off tonight talking about Wicked Comic-Con. This has been a very long weekend. And before I go too far into Wicked Comic-Con, I want to let everybody know Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by HomecircleMedia.com for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Please check out HomecircleMedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. Hello to the chat room. Hello, HH. I hope you are doing wonderful. Hello to everybody out there who is tuning in tonight. We also want to remind you we are brought to you by Triple S Lawn Care. If you're in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, be sure to check out Triple S Lawn Care on Facebook. Darren will appreciate you keeping him busy. We're also brought to you tonight by Casey Fox. For all of your artwork, cosplay, and photography needs, be sure to check out Casey Fox. That's KAYCIFOXX on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Like I said, I wanted to start off tonight. Unfortunately, our representative from Puchi Con, who's going to be joining us, ended up getting sick, had to cancel. Unfortunately, I was on the road when I found this out because it was a long weekend. I drove from up like northern New York to Pawtucket, Rhode Island to hang out with friends who joined me at a first-year one-day con called Wicked Comic-Con. And it actually was a really, really good show. It was such a good show. They've already announced dates for next year, and they're moving it from the Western Seaport to the Heinz Convention Center next year. It was packed. One day con, there was a ton of people. It was a lot of fun. Reconnected with some great friends. Of course, our friends Keith Gleason from Plastic City Comic-Con. Also does a podcast with Johnny C. We are going to work on trying to do a collaboration with them. Also, got to chat with some other conventions, talk to representatives from Rhode Island Comic-Con, and of course, our friends Emily Druin was there promoting Kids Con. Let's see if I can adjust the mic a little bit here, move the camera down. It's more of the screen in the way. I tried to mess with this earlier and it didn't quite work out. But Kids Con, that's going to be going on May 21st in 2020. Be sure to check out Kids Con New England if you're in the New England area. It's going to be at the Everett Arena in Concord, New Hampshire. It is a really, really fun Comic-Con for kids. It's devoted to kids for education, learning, coloring, entertainment, and a lot of amazing vendors go there, a lot of amazing artists. We've vended there ourselves in the past. Emily really does a great, great job putting on that show. Like I mentioned before with Keith Gleason and Plastic City Comic-Con, definitely go check that out if you are in the area. I'll move my hand so you can see. That's going to be in Fitchburg, Mass. On July 16th. So definitely something worth checking out. I've made that con once, and it was a lot of fun. Keith that really puts on a really good show. Also, throw a shout out to the people over at Fan Expo Boston. That's going to be going on August 12th through the 14th at the Boston Convention and Exposition Center. They have a ton of guests that they have announced already. Just a small sample of the guests on the backside here of the flyer. Be sure to check out fanexpoboston.com, as you see there, for a complete listing. They were talking about that they were trying to get some of the voice actors and stuff in there, so definitely check them out. We were able to meet up with one of the past guests that we had on the show, Sean. God, what? Of course, the name Sean Hainsworth. We did a special with him about his comics. We got to finally meet him in person. He had the comic with him. Looks fantastic. Definitely want to go check his stuff out. And I also have to throw a big shout out to our friend Justin Hamburg, who so graciously went to Katsucon. He was going there anyway, and because Emmy Lowe was a guest, I asked him to get me her autograph of as Delmine, and I know the glare off the screen and stuff, but I am so stoked. We've got Delmine's autograph to go with the Retterie I have sitting up there. So that's 2 down, many, many more to go. So that was exciting to go to that. But Wicked Comic Con as a whole, it was a smaller venue that they were in, but it was packed, and they had so many great cosplayers that were there. I took a lot of photos. We have a lot of editing we got to do to put a photo video up here on our YouTube channel, which we're going to be working on that in the next couple of weeks, because we still have the Northeast Comic Con stuff that we need to edit and everything. But a lot of good stuff in the future. Like I said, Wicked was very busy. A lot of cosplayers, a lot of vendors. It almost felt like an old school Comic-Con. No big name guests this year. They focused more on the artists and the vendor side of things. And they brought in a lot of cosplayers. They had a lot of New England area cons that were representing themselves. Definitely something if you're in the Boston area when they put on their show next year. And next year, like I said, they already announced their dates. And they're going to be April 22nd and 23rd. I don't know if that's going to interfere with Anime Boston next year or not. I'm not sure how far out Anime Boston has their dates booked. But I am... Let's see here. I do a little research. Okay, so it will not interfere. Anime Boston 2023 is scheduled April 7th through 9th at the Heinz. So it will not interfere. So if you're in Boston and you want to hit a couple of really good cons, you have Anime Boston at the beginning of April, and then you'll have Wicked Comic Con at the end of April. So definitely go check that out. Good evening, Mario. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I am very tired from a long weekend of driving. As some of you know, I started working a second job, and so after a 60-hour work week, ended up driving 5 hours from upstate New York down to Pawtucket, Rhode Island, to meet up with friends to go to Wicked Comic Con. They had a really good time as well, which it's always great when you can introduce new people to Comic Cons and they enjoy them. Definitely was worth having them come out. And then went from Pawtucket got breakfast, went to the con, and then today was go from Pawtucket back to Boston again. We hung out with our co-host Angela because I was in the area, figured why not. She had some time to hang out for a few hours, so we walked around Boston, visited the Heinz Convention Center, which is T-minus 7 weeks until Anime Boston. And I want to clarify something that I said last week. Last week, I announced on the radio show that I had received an email that said that we were not approved for press passes, which came through. And then shortly thereafter, the show ended. About a half hour or so after the show ended, we received another email that apologized for the confusion. Don't know why that other email had gotten sent out. We actually got approved for Anime Boston. I am really, really excited for press for AB this year. It's now first year back after 2-year hiatus because of the world, and we are working on trying to figure out plans on the best way to cover Anime Boston. We're going to try to see if we can find a spot to set up to do a live show from Anime Boston. Have cameras set up to where all of you, our fans who can't make it, will have a chance to, even if we have to set up in the lobby of one of the hotels or something, and have a chance of possibly interviewing cosplayers who are walking by, stuff like that. We want to cover Anime Boston as best as we can for all of our fans out there. I know, Mario, you're not in the U.S., so you wouldn't have a chance to really make Anime Boston unless you made a special trip out to visit us at a time that Anime Boston would be going on. But if we can give all of our fans out there a chance to experience it even virtually for a little bit, I want to be able to show everybody why I love this convention so much. And we talk a lot about different shows and different conventions and, different size conventions, why I prefer smaller cons to larger cons and whatnot. But there's just something special about Anime Boston. It was my first ever convention. Granted, I only went on a Sunday, but it was a lot of fun to go to. That's where I discovered cosplay and all sorts of stuff. And thank you, HH. I was as surprised to get that email after getting off the show as you are probably to hear me announce it tonight. Also, I don't want to forget to throw a big thank you and shout out to Lindsay Shepard, Anthony Bowling, and Gavin Goska, who joined us last Sunday for our 8-year anniversary show. We are starting year 9. Holy crap. And it's crazy to think that this show is 8 years old. Parking for Anime Boston. Try to find parking anywhere in Boston during a major event. By the way, it's Memorial Day weekend. Your best bet, HH, would be to take the T to South Station and then take the Red Line to the Prudential. I'm being dead honest. The T goes right to the Prudential. And HH says, really happy for you. Sounds like you're going to have a busy weekend up there. I am not going to be stopping between now and every weekend. I have something going on between now and the end of May. So we are going to be pushing a lot of stuff. Like I said, in 2 weeks, we will be at Vermont Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo in Essex, Vermont. Angela will be at PAX East for that same weekend. So if you are able to make either of those, we would love to see you. I will have a table at Vermont Fantasy and Sci-Fi. Angela is going to be an enforcer. But I know that she's going to do a great job at show promotions and stuff like that. Also, get my schedule here. And then 3 weeks after Vermont Sci-Fi, we are going to be at Puchi Con. Like I mentioned, unfortunately, their representative ended up getting sick today and had to cancel, which is sad because I was really looking forward to finding out more information about Puchi Con and having fun and everything. So we will see what happens for that. And HH responding, yeah, the tea isn't so bad. It's really not. I took it today. And it's been years since I had actually ridden the subway in Boston. It really wasn't all that bad, to be honest. It's quite the experience when you're taking the tea into Boston via subway. For those of you who aren't from Massachusetts or don't know what I'm talking about, Boston does have a subway system called the MBTA, or Mass Bay Transit Authority, and they have the Purple Line, which is your commuter rail, and then they have 4 subway lines: a red line, orange line, green line, and blue line. And to get around from a lot of areas, like I took the red line to connect with the green line. So I'm sorry, the green line is the one that you're going to want to take to go to the Prudential, not the red line. It'd been years since I'd been on there walking around and going for a walk around Boston today. It was beautiful out there. Saw a lot of places. Like if you're a cosplayer in New England, go to, as weird as it sounds to say, go to Boston go around like Boston Commons, Boston Garden, the Boston Gardens area. Beautiful, beautiful like park area, nice pond. A lot of really photogenic spots out there. So if you're a cosplayer and you're looking for a place to do a photo shoot, definitely check that place out. Also check out the Harvard Arboretum, which we had the honor of being at an event with Purdue Cosplay that they put on year 2018, 2019. I think it was 2019, shortly before we moved. It was one of the last events we were able to make. And that's a beautiful area too. So I'm not sure exactly when we're going to have Darren joining us or if we're going to have Angela joining us. But I did want to talk a little bit about the experience with Wicked Comic Con. Had a lot of fun, like I said. Really excited that they were so busy and that they were busy enough to already have dates set for next year, make it a 2-day con, and move to a bigger venue. Because I will be honest, a lot of those aisles were crammed with people. There were times when we had to like wait a few minutes for the traffic to clear. And for a first-year con, it's a good thing. We were able to reconnect, like I said, with Keith Gleason. Emily Druin was there. Mink the Satyr, a cosplayer that we've become friends with, was there. Johnny C. was there, so we got to reconnect with him. Haven't seen him since Saratoga last year. So it was great to chat with him. And like I said, we're going to be working on trying to figure out dates that we can do a cross-platform where we'll go on Johnny C. and Keith Gleason's podcast, and then we'll have them on here to talk with them in the future. I do want to give a shout-out to, I know I said her name before, but Mink the Satyr, I have to give a shout-out to. She is a very talented cosplayer. One of her goals is to cosplay all of the Pokemon. She's currently over 50 Pokemon cosplayed. And ironically, she was not in a Pokemon cosplay at this event. Other people at her table were, but she was not. And if you want to find out more information about Mink the Satyr, I will hold this up, and hopefully you can read that. Obviously, everywhere for social media, Facebook, Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch, it's just MINKTHESATYR. So definitely check out her stuff. We are going to be working on trying to get her on the show as a guest. Also had to throw a shout out to a group that we got to meet called Coscove. This is a group of people who are putting together they have a website that they're promoting where cosplayers can get together and buy and sell unique costumes and things like that. It's a pretty cool idea. And getting messages going on right now. I apologize. And seeing about getting our friend Jay Moores on the show. He was at a different con this weekend. And thought it might be fun to see how the convention he went to. So I was curious if he would be able. He literally just got in the door, he said, from his convention. So I'm not sure if he's going to have the energy. So we shall see what's going on there. We are waiting. Also, like I mentioned before, Darren is currently in the process of transporting a chicken coop. The things that you will do with a landscaping business. And as far as and I apologize about being all over the place tonight. It's kind of like thrown off a little bit. Only found out about Puchi Con needing to cancel about 6 o'clock while I was still driving home from Massachusetts, and I literally got in the door about 7ish, and then it was put my Evie to bed and stuff. So brain still kind of frazzled going over a ton of stuff. But give me just a moment here. But talking about Cosgrove, getting back on topic here, this is a little card that they gave us. You can check out more information about them at cosgrove.com. I am gonna see about getting them on the show as a guest because I like what they do. They have it's a neat thing, and like I said, check out Cosgrove, Coscove. I'm sorry, COSCOVE.com. You can search for different cosplays. You can find people who make cosplays. And for those of you wondering, there is a little explanation about what they do. It says, what is Coscove? Coscove is the costume marketplace where cosplayers, hobbyists, and fans come to discover unique costumes. Searching, transcending, and connecting with others in the community is easier than ever. Do good for your costumes and do good for the planet. So instead of throwing away your costumes, find some, put them up for sale and see who else might be interested in using them. And just responding back, unfortunately, Jay is exhausted from convention, which when you vend a convention, I can totally understand why he would not be able to. But, it really was a fun event, and I hope Jay had a good time at his con. And I don't remember which convention he was going to. Did I ask him about that? I don't think I did, but it's okay. And like I mentioned, it was really fun to reconnect with Justin Hamburg, good cosplaying friend of ours who's been a guest on the show. Um, it was a lot of fun, and it just feels good to be able to get back out to conventions and get back into the swing of things. I know a lot of people out there are still very hesitant about going to events. Um, a lot of areas have lifted the mask mandates and things like that. I know Anime Boston, they are still going to be requiring masks and vaccinations and stuff. Wicked did not, which was good for my friends who aren't vaccinated. I'm fully vaccinated, so I didn't have to really worry on that aspect of things. But um, so overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate my experience with Wicked Comic Con an 8. If I'm being 100% honest, I would rate it an 8. Going into a first year con, I usually have low to medium expectation because you're not sure how the turnout's going to be, type of guests, things like that. It was packed. Everybody was having fun. Got to connect with a lot of familiar faces, got to meet some new people, and really it just was a overall great time. And we'll switch gears here due to the fact I just got a message from my friend Scotty, who I stayed with out in Pawtucket. I decided to introduce him to an anime that just ended in the winter 2022 season, started in the fall 2021 season. And it's an anime that I became addicted to. I went into it with some expectations, but really not knowing what to expect, and got floored by it right away. And I've introduced it to a few other people now, and one of them, after watching about 4 or 5 episodes here, went home and binged as much of it as he could watch until he caught up to the end of it that night, which meant he didn't go to bed till like 3 a.m. And I introduced my best friend Scotty to it, my brother Scotty to it, and he just messaged me saying, dude, this anime is effing awesome. And that anime is Realist Hero. How a Realist Hero rebuilt the kingdom. I figured he would enjoy it because he likes military stuff. He likes a little bit, like, he's not so much into politics, which there is a lot of politics that goes on in this anime, but it does a really good job of explaining things and like dumbing down a lot of situations that for somebody like me who really doesn't know anything or really give a crap about politics, even it was really easy for me to understand everything that was going on. And then in the last episode when they explained stuff, and I don't want to spoil anything. This is a show you need to check out. I watched it in its entirety in Japanese, so I watched the whole thing subbed, and I am rewatching it dubbed because this show is just that fantastic. Which big shout out to Kiba Walker, very talented voice actor that we met at AAC. He just announced that he is going to have a part in Realist Hero, so excited when I saw that news. And HHS Duff hung out with him yesterday and a little bit this morning. He does say hello because I told him that we met up with you at NECC. So, lots of good stuff that's been going on, but Realist Hero was just a fantastic anime. And right from the start, because as much of a isekai trash as I am, even I'm getting tired of seeing a ton of isekais. It's at the point now of, okay, you really need to lure me in 3 episodes or I'm going to skip over you. And Realist Hero, I watched it with low to medium expectations. Kind of like, okay, let's check it out. How different is this from everything else I've seen? And will it hook me? After episode 1, my interest was piqued. After episode 2, I was hooked. Episode 3, it kind of was going in a path that I wasn't expecting and really, really enjoyed. And it's not if you're looking for an anime with fan service and stuff like that, this is not your anime. This is a very strategic anime. This is an anime where the writer of this story put a lot of thought into this. Not saying that the writers of all the source material for the animes don't, but there was a lot of thought that went into this. And it wasn't just, how am I going to create this character? What are they going to do? No, the thought that I'm talking about is the main character has such an interesting thought process about him. Going into the anime side of things, seeing how he takes his knowledge from his life in Japan and translates it and adjusts it to a new world where somehow he's able to understand their language and them, and they can understand him. However, if he plays music from Japan, they just hear a jumbled noise and can't understand anything. And it's stuff that they explain in the show early on as to, it's weird how this stuff can happen. He also, after being summoned, picks up an aptitude for magic and is able to use some dark magic. Once he's first summoned into the world, he is summoned into the world as a hero, basically as an offering to the Grand Empire, who is leading the war against a demon lord that has taken over part of the continent that they're on. And it's not your typical overpowered, I'm just going to swing my sword and kill a million demons type anime. He's overpowered with knowledge and being able to think fast and logically. And as the storyline kept going, I kept getting more and more sucked in. I've talked about this show a lot on the air here. The characters are fun. but they're different. And when I say different, he takes a world of kings and queens and noblemen, and everybody is ranked based off of, the fantasy worlds. You have the kings, and you have the king and queen who run everything. You have the noblemen who have the money, and they're higher up on the food chain or anarchy. And you have the working class, and you have the slums and stuff. And the new acting king, the hero who gets turned into the king, decides to change everything and put everything in the do what he can to get rid of the corrupt nobles, give everybody a fighting chance, gets rid of all the advisors the previous king had except for one because he found them to be useless, and uses a broadcast system that usually was only used to communicate with like the Grand Empire, and turns it into a public broadcast system, or basically a TV show that goes throughout their entire nation of Elfrieden, and to recruit anybody who feels they could be useful to the kingdom. And the people they get is quite the interesting group. And I think one of the coolest characters that is involved in this show is not it's not a female character that I'm talking about. There's no cute. Well, there is a cute dragon girl. I was gonna say there's no cute dragon girls, but no, there is a cute dragon girl that comes in later, and she's actually the daughter of the Air Force, daughter of the captain of the Air Force. But that's a whole nother story. But this character is basically a fat villager guy named Pancho who gets made fun of because he's a glutton. But the way that the acting king responds to him when he's introduced as being the biggest glutton and food expert is, he basically is beyond himself excited that Pancho nominated himself to be a part of this. And it was at that point that I knew this anime was different from a lot of other shows that I've watched. And the fact that he welcomed this commoner and gave him a title and basically sent him off to gain all the knowledge he could about food from around their country, because their country was dealing with a food shortage due to an influx of refugees who were coming from, the areas that were ransacked by the demons. So, trying to turn the country around from being in the red, starving population, overpopulated because of refugees and everything else going on. And the way that he went about it was so different. It actually was very refreshing. And I told my wife, I said, this is probably the next anime I want to buy once it's available. I really, really loved it. And like some questionable things happened in episode 1 that you don't really understand why the acting king, after a few hours of being with the hero Soma, decided to relinquish his crown, step down as acting king, and put everything in the hands of Soma. Until episode 26, the final episode that's been released. And I really, really hope that we get a season 3 of this. I really hope for a season 3. And yes, Mario, I did say Dragon Girl. In fact, I could even probably pull a picture up of her. That's because this show was so different from what I'm used to. But it like I said, it was a very refreshing type of isekai. It really stood out to me because it was so different. And I actually enjoyed the fact that it was very different. Mario, if you haven't started this, you need to. Here's the dragon girl in question. Carla Vargas is the daughter of the acting um, Navy or acting Air Force, and due to the acts of treason by the head of the Army and the head of the Navy, or the head of the Army and the head of the Air Force, the 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 head of the Army ends up being killed for treason once he's defeated by Soma, and Carla ends up becoming the maid for the hero and the princess. So basically the acting King Soma and the princess. And so she's reduced from military to this. And like I said, she's adorable. Yes, another cute. And yes, talking about Realist Kingdom. And HH says the manga explains the abdication much earlier, but animes for some reason like to jump around with the timeline. That is true. I know episode 24 dropped an English dub last night. I have not seen that just yet due to the fact that I have spent all weekend traveling. But I probably will watch that. I don't know if I'll watch it tonight because I'm exhausted, but I will definitely be watching that soon. And yeah, Ross says, just saw episode English dub 24 last night. I think it's the one where the baby was born. I believe you are correct. And for those wondering, the baby was born in a refugee camp just outside the castle walls, while Soma was out there to talk with the heads of the refugee camp and try to figure out a way of working with everybody. And looking like Jay Morris wants to join us in June. We've got a full spectrum of stuff coming up, and I'm gonna have to send a message out to our friend Devere. I was supposed to do a video for them, which I have not had the time to do, and I feel terrible about it. But next Sunday here on Anime-Zing Radio, we're going to have our friend Devere Kai from Big Bucks Entertainment is going to be joining us. They are going to be celebrating their 10-year anniversary this year, which hats off to them. They put on an amazing game shows at conventions. And they put on multiple types of game shows. They've got, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? For those of you who are a little bit older, they've done Press Your Luck. For fans of the show who have been around for a while, he's joined us to talk about his experience when he was on Wheel of Fortune. He is a very, very big game show fanatic, and so it's going to be fun to bring him back on. He's also an amazing cosplayer, and so it'll be fun to bring him back on to talk about the cosplay and stuff of that nature. Of course, April 24th, we don't have a guest. We're looking at doing an open show that night. Since we have a pretty active chat room, I want to throw an idea out there for you. Now, this is something that Angela and I were talking about when we were talking show stuff today. We were throwing around the idea of having an active RPG like Dungeons and Dragons session that lasts maybe like 2 to 3 hours. But due to the fact that there are so many interested voice actors who put on campaigns, I thought it might be fun to invite a few of them. Maybe Anthony Bowling, Danny Chambers. Angela said that she would be the GM of that because she has done that. I am interested in trying the RPG world. I've never really done it outside of maybe I take it back. I tried it at a friend's house like a couple of Sundays, but never really understood what was going on. but I would like to learn more about it. So I think it would be fun if we could get a small voice actor roundtable, but instead of a Q&A, we just do like take a page out of Victory Conditions Gaming's book and just do a small RPG session for like a couple hours, even if it's just 2 or 3 voice actors, me, Angela, and if Darren wants to be a part of it. If that sounds like something that you would love to see, let me know in the comments. I see Mario says that would be cool. And let's see here. Ross said, going back to Realist Hero, there's what I don't get about anime girls is that when they see a baby born, why do they immediately want a baby that is rushing? Why do they immediately want a baby? Is that rushing relationships? It's not anime girls, Ross. It's all girls. I can speak from experience. I know many women out there who they see new babies and like, oh my god, I want one. And then when they leave, the feeling passes. It's one of those like instantaneous things. Like, oh, they're so cute. I want the cute thing. So it's not so much an anime trope. It's not so much just anime girls. It's women in general. So it's looking like we have Darren about to join us. Hello, Darren.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Yay. I don't know how long I'm going to be here at this very moment because just got to where we needed to go and my phone's on 10% and I don't know what I did with my charger.
Not a problem. We've been killing some time tonight talking about Wicked Comic-Con that I went to yesterday. I'll tell you the story about how I got there and everything I went through later. Also have been talking about Realist Hero and doing some promotions about that. I mentioned about another, finding another cute dragon girl, which got Mario's attention, and then I had to show the picture of what she ends up wearing.
Oh my!
The fun part
and you still haven't watched Ari Forza.
I have not, due to my new schedule. And that's what the Dragon Girl starts off wearing, a military outfit, and after being tried for treason, she ends up like that.
Well, she looks like Lazara, to be honest with you.
She's adorable.
Yes. Give me just a second. Let me see where he's trying to put this thing.
No problem. So we will mute Darren's mic for the moment while he's talking with a customer. And Ross looks like he's up for the Dungeons and Dragons idea, which I think it would be a lot of fun because we're discovering a lot of voice actors who do the RPG stuff. So I'm going to throw some feelers out to the voice actors we know and see if that's something they would be up for as well. Angela loves the idea because she loves the RPG world. So that could be a lot of fun. And we will probably look at doing that either in June or July, just because of how heavily booked we are at the moment. In fact, I just booked Jay Morris for June 5th. We could even see if he's got his new game finished at that point. And so much stuff going on. It's nuts. Like I said, I'm still kind of coming down off the high of last week's 8-year anniversary show. It's crazy to think over the past 8 years, and we couldn't have done it without all of you guys who tune in. Thank you so much. I mean, a big heartfelt thank you to everybody who tunes in. HH, Mario, Ross, I love the fact you guys come in and chat and interject and have questions for the guests, questions for us on the show and everything. It means a lot it really does mean a lot to me about the interactions and stuff, because that's why I do this. This is a way that I found that I can give back to the anime and Comic-Con community to, it helped me get through a crappy time in my life. And I know everybody has stuff that goes on. And if we are able to provide even a little bit of entertainment, then I know I've done my job. So really, from the bottom of my heart, I thank everybody who tunes in every week. If this is your first time watching us, thank you so much. If you've been with us since we started the show 8 years ago, I know Ross, you were there from almost the beginning. Mario's been here for a while. HH, you've come on recently after your brother told you about us because of me posting stuff on Facebook. And, I do pay attention. Even though it may not seem like that a lot of times, I do pay attention. I remember Karma Cookie. And I remember, there's so many fans that we had from Hazy Radio Days and Blog Talk Radio Days and now here on YouTube. And, the connections that we've been able to make. And even last week was really cool when we had Anthony Bowling join us, even though it was for a half hour. Having him on with Lindsay Shepard, and they had never worked together from what Lindsay had told me. And for Anthony just like on a whim to be like, oh yeah, you haven't been a part of One Piece yet. We need to change that. If we just made a connection there, holy crap. That's pretty cool. You don't see that a lot of times. A lot of times stuff like that happens behind the scenes or when they were in studios and stuff like that. Also, we want to thank all of our new subscribers who have checked out our stuff recently. We're still on our way to hitting 200 subscribers for our first giveaway. Our goal is 500 by the end of the year. Our first giveaway, of course, is a guest co-host spot for one lucky subscriber to sit in a voice actor interview, which, as far as I know from the research that I've done, you cannot get a 2-hour sit down with a voice actor at any convention that I know of. And I don't know of any other like radio shows or podcasts or stuff that offers anything like this. So I think that's kind of a cool thing that we're able to do to provide the fans a chance to sit down and talk with some of their favorite voice actors. And I don't know when we're gonna get the voice actors on, or who we're gonna get, or when we're gonna hit it. I mean, who knows? It could be Emmy Lowe coming on, which again, a big thank you to Justin Hamburg for getting the Delman autograph. And I know it's very difficult to see due to the lighting and everything. I'm gonna take this out of its protective foil. Oh no, that's bad. But if you look at it, it's also holographic. I know it's going to be tough to kind of see, but it is one of those holographic, shiny. You can see a little bit in her blue hair and stuff. The camera really does not do it justice, but... And, I am still ecstatic about getting this. It's like the fanboy in me is going nuts because it's like I now have Delmine, who out of the Masha Mairesh gang, she is like Rihuyu and Hawan are kind of like 1 and 1A. She would be 2 and Himiko would be 3, just based off of personality and stuff. When it comes to the voice actors who voice these characters, I would probably change it to where Himiko would be. I think it would probably be Rihuyu, Himiko, Hawan. Actually, I don't know. They're all like right there, and I put most of them in front of the Plasmagica girls or any of the other bands. Like Masha Mairesh is my favorite band from Show by Rock, and Ross says this show helps me out a whole lot as well. With me having autism, I have trouble being anxious and socializing, so the show helps me relax and a place to speak, which that's why I do this. In all honesty, Ross, anytime you want to interject with us, if you have questions for us and things, feel free to speak up here. This is a great way to meet other anime fans, and I mean, I'm finding out people I've known for years who are into anime, like HH. I've known for before Northeast Comic-Con, we hadn't seen each other. I figured out it was over 20 years since the last time I'd actually seen him. And it was, it's great to see all of you people. There's other things that Angela and I talked about today when we were together walking around Boston about trying to organize a cosplay meet and greet where cosplayers from the New England area could come to Boston. We would host, maybe not do a live show or record, but go to one of the parks, bring in some photographers to do free cosplay photography, do a Q&A session about the show and stuff like that, and just a way for another excuse for cosplayers to cosplay and anime and gaming fans just to get together in a comfortable public setting. And there's some beautiful areas around Boston, which I discovered today because I'm not really a city person, but some of the areas that she brought me were absolutely breathtaking. I won't lie. I was surprised. Like, I didn't know that a place like this existed in Boston. But having never really spent much time in Boston, I think today is the most amount of time I have ever spent in Boston, not at a convention or at a Red Sox game. So that's saying something. Oh, was that you, Ross? Were you coming? Or Ross, God, yeah. Was that you, Darren? Were you coming back?
I'm trying to park a trailer with a chicken coop on it.
You have fun with that.
Yeah.
Also, saw a lot of really cool artists at the convention at Wicked Comic-Con over yesterday, and so I have a stack of business cards and pamphlets and stuff to go through about trying to find people that we want to bring on the show, because I love bringing on a lot of these fresh faces. Once Darren starts getting back out to the conventions, I'm going to have him start collecting business cards so we have people to reach out to down in the Carolina area. And I do hope that I can be financially stable enough. Once I can be better off financially, I want to start traveling more outside of the New York, New England area for conventions. Obviously, this year we're hitting a convention in Pennsylvania, and probably gonna be looking at Puchi Con in New Jersey as well. I want to try to extend our sponsorship and see if we can work that out with them to sponsor Puchi Con in New Jersey as well in August, because I think that would be a lot of fun to be able to attend both conventions, have a honest comparison of the different events that they put on, and I try my best to be knowledgeable on a lot of different things. And I kind of snickered today when I had the realization that for a con like Anime Boston that I have been attending for years, I think my first Anime Boston was 2013. And then we had press in 2015. But I don't think I got the press because of this show. I think I got the press because of Crossing the Void Radio. I after this year for Anime-Zing radio wise, I will have badges for Anime Boston as an attendee, as a vendor through my wife's studio with Casey Creations / now Casey Fox. I will now have a press badge, which means the only badges from AB that I will have yet to have acquired is a staffer badge and a guest badge. I think a guest badge at any con would be absolutely amazing. We can dream. It doesn't hurt to have goals. At some point, I would love to have the show big enough to where we can be invited as a guest to a convention, no matter how big or small. If you want us to appear at a convention, recommend us. Have them get in contact with me. I would love to talk to all conventions. Like I said, doesn't matter the size, bigger, small. We're working with Rail City Fan Fest in St. Albans, Vermont. It's a first year small con. From what I heard, it's being put on by a cosplayer. So it's going to be fun working with them, and that's only like an hour away from me. We're trying to talk with people from Bakuretsu-Con in Colchester, Vermont. I would love to work with them more. Lots of conventions that are in the area. I'd love to get out to Central and Western New York more. Of course, we're hitting Puchi Con in Pennsylvania, but I'd love to hit some other cons out that way. And eventually, maybe go down and ransack Darren's neck of the woods, and we can do a live show from one of the North Carolina shows.
That would be fun.
We just have to drag you to a con with a mask on.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I'm sure if Ange and I showed up at your house and we're like, dude, we're going to Raleigh SuperCon, you'd be like, fine.
That ain't so much the problem, it's the other one.
But you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
And Ross says, I do need to be honest, going back to what you were saying earlier, I have not seen Mashu Mairesh at all. That is perfectly fine, Ross, that you haven't seen that. There's many shows I haven't seen. There's many shows I've tried to watch that are popular that I could not get into. And like Demon Slayer, I've always said I will give just about any anime a 3-episode trial. I gave that one 6 episodes and it didn't hook me. And I know Darren has said in the past that it really took off after episode 19. And if it takes 19 episodes for a show to really take off, there's too many good unknown animes out there for me to waste my time on something that doesn't pique my interest in the first 3 episodes. You know, there are a lot of hidden gems out there that get overlooked because everybody gets sucked in by a lot of shonen anime. You know, the My Hero Academias, One Piece, Attack on Titans, Fairy Tail. Like these shows, they're good, but you know, I'm not saying that these shows are bad shows. I'm just saying that they get so overhyped that people just focus on those and they miss out on shows like My Dress Up Darling, or you know, the shows I'm infatuated with, like, you know, Show by Rock, the franchise of that, the World Witches, and Mario says I will honestly give it an episode give a series 4 or 5 episodes. If you've not taken off by then, I'm out. The only exception to that rule is Steins Gate. And going back to Show by Rock, Ross says, well, it's because I don't think it sticks to the main story of how Show by Rock season 1 and 2. It does not. It focuses on the Show by Rock Mashu Mairesh focuses on an entirely new band. And then Show by Rock Mashu Mairesh season 2, or Show by Rock Stars, brings everything together. Show by Rock, Stars, you get all the bands from the first 2 seasons and Mashu Mairesh. You get Plasmagica, you get Pretty Krista, you get Trichronica, Daru Dayu, and all of Zuri, and Bud Virgin Logic, and basically Mashu Mairesh goes from their small neck of the woods to Midi City, ends up being watched over by Bandit Rocking Records, where they meet up with Plasmagica. And episodes 1 and 2 of Show by Rock Stars, a lot of crazy stuff happens. So if you enjoyed Show by Rock seasons 1 and 2, you're going to enjoy Mashu Mairesh, because, and I would throw a little spoiler out for Show by Rock Mashu Mairesh episode 12, Haon does bump into Cyan. It's very brief, but she does bump into Cyan, which led you to believe that there was going to be more coming after that, which then they announced Show by Rock Stars, and I have seen the entire series in English and Japanese. I prefer the song, to be honest, I prefer the songs in Japanese over English, but I would have, and unfortunately Show by Rock Stars, the songs were not English dubbed. I would love if they were able to do that, because Anokaterium, or whatever the song is, that's my favorite song out of the whole franchise. That's amazing in Japanese. I would have loved to have seen how they did it in English, especially where they had the lead singer of like 8 bands singing part of the song. And I'm not sure what you mean, Ross. Real world or the game world? Are you referring to season 1 and 2 of Show by Rock, how Cyan was transported to the world? Or I'm not 100% sure where you're going with that. And getting pinged with messages and all sorts of stuff. Stuff is crazy. They bumped into each other in not Midi City, but the smaller city that Hawan ends up. For Masha Mairesh, Hawan is a musician that lives in a small village with her family. She ends up going to her the big city, but not like Mini City would be like going to New York City or LA. She ends up going to like Hartford, Connecticut, so a bigger city but not huge. For an audition, she loses the paper. She ends up, being bummed out by losing her audition paper. She ends up running into a street performance by Himiko, Delmian, and Ryuyu. Ends up being invited to sing with them, and that's the start of Masha Mairesh. The last episode, they are rushing to try to make a big performance concert at a venue that they got invited to. Of course, they're running late, as Hawan has to get her guitar and is running to the venue. That's when she bumps into Hawan, or when she bumps into Cyan. Basically, it's your typical like anime meetup where one character is coming from this street, one's coming from this street, and they bump into each other and fall. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry, and then they quick exchange of words, and then off they go running where they were heading to. But that it was a cute little interaction. And it got you to think that there was going to be more to it than that. And I want to so I was able to fill an hour of random nonsense. So thank you all for listening to me just blah 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 over random crap for an hour. I want to try to pull up the winter 2022 anime list so that we can go through and kind of do a little review of the shows that were released. I know Darren will chime in when he can. He's still trying to back up a trailer with a chicken coop on there. The stuff that you hear. But there was a lot of really, really good shows that came out this year. Of course, more Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan. Of course, just recently announced is Attack on Titan, the final season, part 3. They're going to turn this final season into for those of you who are older, kind of a Police Academy vibe where, Police Academy movies like Police Academy 1 was good, 2 was good, 3 was okay, 4 was ridiculous, 5, okay, you're killing a dead horse, 6, 7, 8, let's make a cartoon. Like, you're just killing it now. It's not even good anymore. You're just wasting people's time. So I'm not saying that that's what Attack on Titan is going to turn into. I'm going to get a lot of crap for that, I'm sure. But interesting. This just in from Ross, something you should know about Shikimori this season. The whole production staff got COVID, so it's on hold. That's the world we live in. Unfortunately, we're probably going to see that from time to time. Of course, My Dress Up Darling. I want to say that is probably my second favorite show of winter 2022. only because, and it's only behind Realist Hero because Realist Hero Part 2, just because of how good Realist Hero really was. And I am still gonna say Marin, not just best girl of winter 2022. I'm still gonna say she's best girl of the year, in my opinion. It's gonna take a lot for somebody to bump her. And those of you who have known me for a long time know that, like a waifu tier list, I had Mizure as my number one, and she's been my number one for many years. She got bumped by Marin. I'm sorry, Mizure, but I would take Marin over you. Plus, with Marin, you don't get that whole cold stalker vibe. Still love Mizure though. But my Dress Up Darling, absolutely fantastic show. Loved it. Um, Marin, like I said, best girl. Beautifully written romance story around cosplay. I really enjoyed how Marin and Gojo's dynamic. You have the awkward guy, but he's not awkward. You kind of get a little backstory as to why he is the way he is. And Marin just being the complete and 100% opposite of him, being very outgoing, outspoken, bubbly, cheerful, everything is awesome type person, but also has some deeper layers to her with some things going on that you don't find out about until a few episodes in. Just the fact that just how much they complete each other. I really, really want a second season of Dress Up Darling. I know that they've caught up to the source materials that's out thus far, so we would have to wait a bit. But I really, really want this series to continue because it is so damn good. We're going to move on from that. I know Darren's giving me crap because I haven't watched Arifueta yet. I know I've talked a ton about Realist Hero. We'll talk about its stepchild, the Genius Prince's Guide to Raising a Nation Out of Debt. At first, I had the notion of, oh, look, this is a sad copy of Realist Hero, which it's not. It's a completely different concept. It sounds similar because it's trying to raise a nation, but the way that the two go about it is completely different. One gets summoned into a world and is made acting king. The other one is already the prince of the nation, wants to make the nation a little bit better so he can sell it off and retire. And that doesn't really happen. But he's kind of I hate to say it, but he's kind of a jackass. I kind of liked, and 100% honest, like Darren asked me to compare the two of them. I would rather live in the world with Realist Hero than I would with Genius Prince's Guide. He lucks into a lot of stuff. I think I really enjoyed the characters better in Realist Hero than I did in Prince's Guide. Granted, Prince's Guide also, the storyline was quite a bit different. A lot of similarities between them, where they're raising nations, kings, royalty, noblemen, a lot of politics, a lot of surprises. And I a little bit behind on Genius Prince's Guide. I need to finish that one. I've been keeping up with most of it. I'm either 1 or 2 episodes behind on that, just due to my new work schedule. But I loved the surprise ending that Realist Hero gave me. That is what really won me over, was Realist Hero. Was the ending. Like how they sold everything and just out of nowhere. And I will pull up the screen so everybody can see the basically what I'm looking at, the my anime list, so you all can follow along. Strongest Sage with Weakest Crest I'd been watching. I need to finish that one. That one has been okay. That one just, even though it's an isekai, the guy basically isekais himself to become the strongest. He's already strong. He then kills himself to gain a crest that in the world he's in, like he knows it's one of the strongest. It's one of the strongest crest, but in the world he's in, everybody thinks it's weak. Everything's changed. Everybody's discovering things that he left behind, but they don't know that he is as old as he is. Of course, it has the cute dragon girl, which I didn't know she was a dragon girl at first, and I made a post about it because me and my dragon girls. Darren makes fun of me for that, and I know Darren has left because his phone probably died, but he will probably be back when he has a chance. Ross says hey, at least Genius Prince had cute-looking anime waifus. Realist Hero had better-looking anime waifus. There were some cute ones in Genius Prince, but I would take the harem list that Soma gets in Realist Hero over the ones in Prince's Guide. And we can pull up pictures to see. I don't know if we can enlarge this or not, but I mean, the white-haired girl is cute. And then you have kind of the Zenobia knockoff with the blue hair. But really, and that's just my opinion. I mean, everybody's got different tastes, different opinions, and But if you look at Genius Princes, so you have the prince and you have the princess who's adorable. You have a songstress who becomes one of his wives. You have a dark elf who is a warrior who becomes one of his wives. You've got the princess of a neighboring kingdom who is adorable, who ends up becoming one of his wives. You have the princesses of another kingdom who try to get him to leave Amandonia and go to their kingdom, but doesn't work. You have the cute dragon chick from there. So I would, just me personally, I would give the edge to Realist Hero. But I'm biased. And Ross says, and they're cute too. I agree. I still give the edge to Realist Hero on that. Other shows that I have been trying to check out. I started Life with an Ordinary Guy who reincarnated into a total total fantasy knockout. This has been absolutely ridiculous. Two guys, like granted, some of the character designs are interesting, and the girl is cute. The problem is the girl, before being transported to that world, was actually a guy. He made a drunken wish. Both of them were basically business people. He made a drunken wish that he was an attractive girl and had a whole thing. Next thing you know, the two of them are summoned into another world, and he's turned into a cute girl. And the other guy just stayed who he was, and the storyline just got ridiculous from there. I have not finished the series. I'm not sure if I'm going. I probably will try to finish it, but it's been Princess Connect Redive Season 2. I'm glad that they gave a conclusion to that. I also feel that they could have continued. Did you ever see Love of Kill? I did not. In fact, I don't know if I've heard of Love of Kill. If I have forgotten about it. So I apologize if you've mentioned it before. But Princess Connect Redive was... It's a cute anime. I can understand why the mobile game aspect of it has taken off. The characters are adorable. Uh, I Carol did end up growing on me. I know before that we had a conversation with some of you in the chat where Carol was best girl. I like the elf girl better than Carol, which one of the rare times that I did not choose the cat girl. But Carol did end up growing on me through season 2, and she really did. As you discovered more about Carol and stuff, she is adorable. Pecorine, I just found annoying. I'm happy how things turned out, but I did find Pecorine a bit on the annoying side. She professed herself pupil of the wise man. Let's talk about this show for a minute. I have enjoyed this show in Japanese, and I have enjoyed it going back and rewatching it again in English. I have to give credit where credit's due, and I believe it was Felicia Angel who voices the pupil of the wise man. I'm trying to remember her name. I think it was Mira. I'm trying to read through here to see if they say her name. Yes, Mira. So the Felicia Angel who voices Mira did an amazing job with the voice she chose for this character. It is so good. If you have not had the chance to watch this anime in English, I have to speak highly of her work as Mira, giving her the voice she did based off of the way the character was originally. The storyline's a lot of fun. It was just a very fun, entertaining show to watch. I would say this might be my number 3 favorite of the season, behind Dress Up Darling and Realist Hero. And I know I'm putting Realist Hero even though it started last season and then went into winter, but definitely, a lot of it was just all around a really entertaining anime, and I really hope it gets another season. It's definitely deserving of one. I'm not sure if I saw anything else. I'm trying to look through, and nothing else is really jumping out at me. So I think that's about all I had watched. World's End Harem I started and got bored with. It's an interesting concept of a guy has a disease. They cryogenically freeze him for 5 years until they can come up with a cure. When he is thawed out, he discovers that 95% of the world's male population is dead by a disease that only kills the male race, and now men are a limited commodity in the world of all women. And he is basically tasked with the job of make love to all these women to have offspring where you have some sort of gene that protects you from this disease. He's not the only male that's still there. I believe it was 5. They had 5 men who were cryogenically frozen and thawed out to go with the task. He doesn't, as far as I saw in the episodes, he doesn't do anything because he wants to find the girl he's in love with who disappeared. And for going back to Wise Man, Ross says, I did up until the week of episode 8 where the simulcast dub stopped. Week 8, they had a hiccup, and then every week after that, as they dropped the sub, they were an episode behind on the dub. So like when they dropped episode 9 subtitled, they dropped episode 8 dubbed, and they continued from there. So it's They ended up being 1 week behind, which I thought was weird. I know we talked about it when it happened here on the show, but they did start continuing it and finished off with everything from there. But it is just so good. HH says World's End is kind of a one-trick pony. It's basically a dude dodging having to sleep with women, and some dramatic turnaround happens every time he makes any progress. So it's basically the opposite of, interspecies reviewers. They want him to bang all these women, and he doesn't want to. As opposed to interspecies reviewers, where they just go around, bang everything they can, and tell about it. In both shows, there's heavy censorship, lots of black lines. I don't think in World's End Harem I ever saw a scene where everything was completely blacked out. But definitely there were some scenes where quite a bit was blacked out. And yeah, they censored kissing too, as Ross says here. The censorship was bad on World End Harem because they censored kissing. They did any like sensual kissing, they ended up blocking that out too. And it's like, why? If you're that worried about it, just put it in the hentai section then, and don't just put stuff out there. But that's, it is what it is. But that is the fun of all these shows that are have come out that I've been watching. I want to do a more in-depth review on stuff once we have the whole crew along with us. Again, Darren is in the process of moving a chicken coop for his job, and he joined us for a short time until his phone died. Angela had a RPG night that got moved from next week to this week due to the fact that next Sunday is Easter, and a lot of people in her group had Easter dinners and family stuff to do. So, understandably, it got moved ahead a week. So that's why she is unable to join us tonight. I know she wanted to, but things happen, and we will be welcoming her back, of course, next week. Next Saturday, we are going to be welcoming Puchi Con on the show. Sadly, the representative ended up getting sick and had to cancel tonight. We do look forward to talking with Erica next Saturday here from 8 to 9 p.m. We're just going to do an hour show because I do have friends that are coming up from out of the area that we're going to be spending some time with. So I don't want to, completely ignore them all day. So, spend a little bit of time with them. And, it's still going to be a lot of fun doing an hour show. Nice little Saturday special. Next Sunday, like I said, we have Devira Kai joining us. And Ross says, speaking of Easter, isn't it usually the second Saturday of April every year? And yet this year it's on the 17th. I'm not sure how they determine when Easter is, but I have seen it fall in March, April, and in May. So I don't know how they determine when Easter actually is, because I'm not a religious person. But I also know that typically Anime Boston falls on Easter weekend. This year it's Memorial Day weekend, along with like 5 other huge conventions in the U.S. So it is what it is. And but a lot of good stuff coming on. And I had made a post on my Facebook page about 2022 is the year that I've become successful or die trying. Kind of making the joke of time to push my limits. And if I have to do an honest review of the first quarter of 2020, looking at what we have accomplished here with AZR and the first 3 months of 2022. I know I just said 2020, but 2022, I think we've done a pretty good job with getting, for the first time, we are official sponsors of a convention, and we're officially sponsoring 2 conventions now. And we got accepted as press for Anime Boston, which is huge because the last time, like I said, the last time we got press for AB was 2015. So it's been 7 years. And I'm excited to see the continued growth of the show here on YouTube. I wish I'd made this jump years ago. Really, really wish I had made this jump years ago to come to YouTube, because we would be so much better off. But hey, you live and learn. I knew Blog Talk. I didn't know how to broadcast on YouTube. And so I made decisions at the time that I felt were best. And eventually, after 6 years of little to no growth on Blog Talk, like I thought I was going to have a lot better, is when we decided that we're going to come here. Of course, like I said last week, doing this show for 8 years, really, I thank all of you guys, the fans out there who join us every week. I thank all of the guests who have come on. It blows my mind that so many amazing people, and I'm not just talking the voice actors. I mean, I know that bringing on a lot of the voice actors is some of our biggest draws, biggest shows. But I love bringing on the comic creators and the artists and the cosplayers. The smaller people, the people who aren't as well known, because they do such an amazing job at their crafts. They work so hard to try to build something, whether they're building their cosplay brand or they're building their art studio and trying to get their art out there, or if they're trying to do podcasts like this. There are a lot of people out there who work so hard and get little to no recognition. I never want to lose sight of that. I never want to forget where I started this show and why I started the show. So no matter how big AZR becomes, no matter if at some point I'm able to quit jobs and be able to travel the country and do the show from different conventions or things like that, and have the show be financially supporting everything I do. I never want to forget that I started this show as a way to give back to you guys, our fans. Give you a chance. Like in 2 weeks, we're going to be at Vermont Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo. I know we just had Jeff Fulba on the show promoting this event. We're going to live stream from this event on Saturday, and then Saturday night, we're going to be live streaming from this show. We're going to give all of our fans out there who are able to tune in a peek of what's going on at the Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo. We're going to try to get cosplayers and maybe even some of the other vendors to come over for quick interviews. It's things like that. It's being able to support this community, because I'm sure a lot of you out there who have either attended cons or would like to attend cons, if you've attended a convention, you know that there's just such a wonderful atmosphere out there when you go to these events. It's an amazing unity of people coming together over a similar interest. And when I say a similar interest, it's like going to, I do a lot of times feel like I could compare Anime Con, even though they're very different things, Anime Cons and Comic Cons and gaming cons and stuff, but I compare it to sporting events. If you're going to go to, and I'm just using it as an example because I'm from the area, if you're going to go to a Patriots or a Red Sox game, we'll say football, we'll say Patriots, you go to Gillette Stadium, you get there 3-4 hours before the gates even open, and that parking lot is full of sports fans who are out there grilling and having fun. They're throwing footballs. And I've experienced where I've gone to a Patriots game, gotten there early with friends. And next thing you know, we're getting invited over to a truck 3 aisles over they brought a huge grill. They're cooking steaks and burgers and hot dogs. Hey, come on over, have some food. No idea who they are. You just made friends because you had a similar interest. You like the same sports team. At a convention, I have made so many friends because of meeting cosplayers and vendors. Going into Artist Alley, and you stop and you enjoy the work that these artists do, and you start talking with them. And the next thing you know, you've become friends with different artists. And it could be somebody as well known as like Rusty Gilligan, who we've had on the show, or it could be, a small up and coming artist. And I'm just going to pick a card at random from Wicked Comic Con and do a shameless plug for Ink by Olivia, because if I'm picking up their cards, they've impressed me. And this is some of her artwork, and this artwork was fantastic. There are times when I wish I had more money so that I could support every artist that impresses me with the work that they've done. If all I can do to support them is give them a quick plug on the radio show, I will plug anybody anytime. And of course, we'll throw our friend Jesse Lundberg out here too. They have new business cards that looks like a little cup holder. I actually really like that idea. And Jesse Lundberg does a lot of amazing work. He does artwork. He does some comic stuff. And if you pause it, I think you might even be able to scan the QR code and get a free webcomic. I think that's what he said it was. I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. But that's the fun part about going to all these events. And I'm also very bad about things, about going to conventions, because I have discovered I cannot leave a convention without buying something. Even if I don't really have the money, I still end up buying stuff. Granted at NECC, I can thank HH for helping me pick up the Malim figure. Wicked Comic Con, I bought a piece of art, which, give me just a second and I'll go grab that. I don't remember who the artist was, but I will stand back a little bit, but this Mega Lucario art was absolutely phenomenal. I really wish I had written down who the artist was. I do have their signature on the back here, but this was absolutely fantastic. I had to buy it, and it was a lot cheaper than I was expecting, which is why I was actually able to afford it. So, some really cool stuff. And another thing that's fun about, going to these events is you never know who you're going to meet that's an anime fan. Our friends Hatake and Sahara, they are geologists, and one of them travels around the country and fights forest fires and stuff. Like, there's doctors and lawyers and people of all walks of life that enjoy cosplay and everything. It really is freaking amazing to the people that you can meet at these events. And I feel very, very honored and very humbled by the fact that I'm able to do this. And I'm able to hopefully provide quality content for all of you guys. I must be doing something right because you keep coming back every week. So I say it a lot, but really I thank you all for sticking by and hanging out with us every week. And I have no plans of stopping anytime soon. I just want to continue to grow Anime-Zing Radio. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, I need your guys' help to promote the show. Get more people to our YouTube channel. We want to hit that 200 subscriber mark as quick as we can, because I really enjoy bringing people on to talk with voice actors. So I think some of my favorite shows were shows where I was able to connect fans with the voice actors, whether it be the donations that we've given away at Anime-Zing for their charity auction. We've had people come on and interview Caitlin French and Megan Shipman, and we had one cosplayer that we brought on, Emily Morse, who is dressed as Cyan from Show by Rock. That was how we met her in cosplay. And so we surprised her by bringing on Bryn April, the English voice of Cyan, as our special guest surprise co-host. So being able to do stuff like this, and these voice actors are amazing people that they love the fans, and the fact that they want to come on to our platform and be able to meet the fans and stuff. It just it speaks volumes for the type of people that they are. And even last week, knowing that Anthony Bowling had plans with his wife, that he still took 30 minutes out of his day to come on and celebrate our 8-year show with us, just it blows my mind that just how amazing these people are. And it's not just the voice actors. I know we talk a lot about them because everybody, you love the work they do, the characters that they bring to life. But then like the cosplayers and stuff that we bring on are phenomenal, and so much work goes behind the scenes. I consider myself lucky on that side of things as well, where I have the knowledge of being a vendor, sitting in Artist Alley, helping with table setup and tear down, setting up the displays, helping my wife sell her artwork. I have also been able to be a cosplayer. I have cosplayed as Natsu. I've cosplayed from Kakario. I was cosplayed as Genji. And of course, Anime Boston, I am planning on cosplaying as Miss Kobayashi, so my first crossplay. Although, if I really wanted to not call it a crossplay, I could just say I'm Miss Kobayashi from episode 2, season 2, when she's turned into a man. Because it did happen. But that's that could be for a whole, that could be a story for a whole another time. But back on topic, being able to have the knowledge of being a cosplayer, being a vendor, going into a convention as press, even though I've never voice acted, taking the knowledge that I've had from all the voice actors that we've had the honor of having on the show and learning from them and stuff, it's helped me grow as a person. I'm sure, Ross, I know you have been a fan of the show for a long time. I'm sure you remember our early shows when I was just some dumb, and I'm making fun of myself, I was some dumb anime fan who just happened to have a way of reaching out to some amazing people and then talk to them on a show. I had no idea what I was doing, to be honest. I still have no idea what I'm doing half the time. I'm just very fortunate to have found connections and been able to talk to some amazing people. And of course, a lot of you guys out there, the fans who tune in every week, you guys, I love talking with you. I love getting the interaction. Mario and Ross and HH and Trisha, you come out here, you have good questions for our guests, and the interaction's always awesome. And the knowledge you guys have make this show so much easier, because I know if I get stumbled on something, I'll get 5 messages in the chat room. I'll get messages through Facebook. I'll get yelled at from the other room. Somebody's going to be there to be like, oh, it's this. And, it's just, like, this community is just so awesome to be a part of. And I'm so honored and humbled to be able to provide a show like this for everybody. I know I'm repeating a lot of stuff over and over again, but I really mean it. It really is quite the amazing thing that I've been able to create here and do for these last 8 years, and looking forward to producing a lot more shows, hopefully getting more content out there once I get adjusted to my new schedule. For those of you who don't know, I did pick up a second job, and so Monday through Thursday, between the 2 jobs, I technically work 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. with an hour and a half break between jobs. And then I have 8 to 4:30 on Friday. Still have my weekends free. This weekend, I decided to spend it by going to Wicked Comic-Con, so driving to Boston. I am very tired. So if I'm rambling, I'm sorry. This is not coffee. This is just water. Just need something to stay hydrated. And Ross says, my favorite part of this show was when I got a sweet birthday message from Tia Ballard as Megami from Shiki. I do remember that. And Tia is such a sweetheart. I've been trying to get her back on the show, but her schedule has been so busy, and she's also not always the greatest at responding to emails quick because of her busy schedule, so it's understandable. When we can get her back on, I would absolutely love to have her back on. And Ross also says, yeah, the show in a way is like a slice of life adventure anime. So it's awesome. I never really looked at it that way, but I guess you could say that with how random we are. And I do incorporate some events from my personal life into this, so you get to see different stuff. And I hope all of you enjoy the little cat that's behind me over here. I've just realized now that Darren's gone, and you can really clearly see this antique figure that I got from an antique shop. Got it for $7, brand new. It's priced for 40. Like on Amazon, if you look that up, it's like $40 was the cheapest we could find at the time that we were at the store. They told us $6 for it, and with tax, it was like $7.50. So now we own a ceramic cat tissue dispenser where you pull the tissues out the cat's butt. That's going to be the next Kizukai. So. Oh my god, could you imagine making an isekai about that? Reincarnated as a ceramic cat that you pull tissues out its ass. I should stop talking because I could see somebody. There's somebody somewhere that's going, oh, I need to make this as an idea. Ross says, I did get to meet Tia Ballard last year at a Comic-Con. She really is sweet. She called me a dear friend on an autograph. So cool. She really is. I had the honor of getting to meet her at Anime-Zing one year. And, I went to a panel that she was doing. I was only able to make that con for the Sunday due to my work schedule. But I went into the panel, and there was a panel she was doing about creativity. How to express yourself creatively, things that you've worked on. It was a way of expressing yourself through different means of art. And when I don't know if, referring to art, everybody thinks of, things like pictures, drawings, paintings, stuff like that. But in my eyes, cosplay is a form of art. Even a show like this is an art form because you're working hard at building a craft. Even though I have no formal training of doing podcasting or radio show, I'm learning on the fly as I go. But being able to go to that panel and listen to her talk about, being creative and, how to build something. And, I was able to interject about the radio show. And as soon as I mentioned the radio show, her face lit up because she remembers us. She knows who we are, and finally getting a chance to meet, and it's kind of I'm not gonna lie, as a nerd and a huge anime fan, much like most of the listeners here, I'm no different than you guys. I love watching the animes. I fan out when I get to fanboy when I get to meet some of these voice actors, whether I've had them on the show or not. I still get excited and then when you go and you meet somebody that you've interviewed, or I'm sure if any of you had the chance to get to a convention that Anthony Bowling's at, if you mention us, he's going to be excited because you're a fan of the show and he's been on here, and he's been on here multiple times. And I've heard of interactions with people who have met him, and last year at Kineticon, getting a chance to finally meet Jeremy Inman after he's been on the show and was part of one of our most talked about shows in our history with the Christmas special with him and Anthony. When I finally got to meet him and he lit up because he remembers that show so fondly. And I was like, oh my God, it's great to finally meet you, and da-da-da-da-da. And you look at the people in line behind you and they're like, who is this guy and how does he know Jeremy Inman? It kind of is a weird feeling to somebody like me who is very, I'm not very social, as weird as that may sound. I'm very good at, they say fake it till you make it in a way. So going to these conventions and talking to people, I force myself to put myself out there because a lot of this stuff is very much out of my comfort zone. But that's the only way that I'm going to grow, and that's the only way I'm going to grow the show, is to keep pushing myself out of the it's the only way that I'm going to keep pushing myself out of the comfort zone is to keep and grow the show, is just keep at it. Ross says, with Funimation merging with Crunchyroll, I'm a little worried if she doesn't return to dub as Chiho this summer for Devil is a Part-Timer Season 2. She better be back as Chiho. From what I understand, I believe they are going to try to bring back the original cast for the original characters. I don't know if there's. I'm sure they're going to add new characters and whatnot. The fact they're bringing it back is absolutely amazing. I am so happy. But it is what was I gonna say? I get sidetracked so easily. I apologize. Why you guys keep coming back on? No, I'm sure you all get a kick out of it when I start screwing up like this. I know I do. You got to be able to laugh at yourself when you're doing stuff like this. You can't take things personally. That's a big thing there. Is you can't take things personally. You got to be able to laugh at yourself when you screw up. And especially in my case where I screw up on the regular. But I really hope that they bring back everybody. I know, as Anthony said last week, him and Josh Greeley are so beside themselves that it's finally getting a season 2 after what, like 6 years. And like I mentioned to Anthony before, I'm like, hey, we did one special. After season 2 comes out, if you want to do another special, let's do it. I'm all for it. That was fun. Doing these anime related special shows is very, very. It's stressful setting them up, but once we get everything like organized and the show comes, it's just. It's very magical to me to be able to bring like all these voice actors together, like the Mashima Resh special that we did when we were able to bring on all the voice actors of the band Mashima Resh and the director. In many cases, like they all individually got to talk with Megan Shipman, but they hadn't had a chance to communicate to talk with each other because everybody was home recording. So giving Macy Ann Johnson, Giovanni Cruz, Emmy Lowe, and Lindsay Shepard the chance to talk with each other about the show that they were a part of was a magical thing to be a part of, because it's like we're bringing voice actors together who may have never met in person. You don't know who knows who, who's worked together. It's like, oh, I know your voice from this, and this, but I've never actually met you or hung out with you. And being able to see them make connections here on the show is kind of a neat thing too. So I definitely want to continue to pull more anime show related specials. So if you have suggestions of shows you would like to see us try to get 2 or 3 voice actors from, be sure to throw them in the comments. Shoot us messages on our Facebook page about it. Let me know, because I would love to do more specials. Even I would prefer to do it on shows that at least one of the 3 of us have seen. That way, it's not going into like Attack on Titan. I've seen 1 episode, and it didn't interest me. And I did try to put together a High School DxD show, but I heard back from nobody. Whether it was bad timing on scheduling, things of that nature, or some people are like, I don't really want to talk about that show for whatever reason, even though it's a great show. Yes, Ines, I can see you. I could see in the camera that my cat was staring me down, so I had to look back and give him attention. I've been gone all weekend. I left the house Friday night at 10 p.m. Made multiple stops where I took half hour to 45-minute naps to drive. What a straight shot would have been about 5.5 hours to Pawtucket, Rhode Island, from where I'm at. just to meet up with my brother and his girlfriend to go to Wicked, to drive like an hour from Pawtucket to Boston to go to the Comic-Con and everything. And so, like I said, I am tired. It's been a long weekend, a lot of driving. I've been in a car for probably 50 to, I would probably say I've been in a car 60% of my waking hours since 10 p.m. Friday night. So I think I might end the show here just because I'm tired and I'm starting to pull a Darren, or I don't want to fall asleep on the air because that would be embarrassing, especially with the camera. And just me, nobody wants to see that. And I would absolutely love to get Justin Briner on the show. The problem is I haven't found contact info that he has responded back to. So hopefully we can get him on the show, because he would be a lot of fun to talk to, not just for Toilet Bound Hanako, but he's done a lot of amazing shows. I also know that with the conventions that are coming up with Puchi Con and Anime Boston, and even Kineticon has announced some amazing guests this year. I'm not going to lie, I am really impressed by the guest list that Kineticon has put together already. And see if I can find. Let's see who. So far, they have for Kineticon. They have announced Jill Harris, Dallas Reed, Jared Green, who we've had on the show, Kyle Phillips, Josh Gremlin, Don Bennett, R. Bruce Elliott, Lindsay Seidel, Caitlin Barr, Mike McFarland, Lauren Landa, and Chris Guerrero. And I know they're going to have more. For those of you interested in going to Kineticon, that's going to be July 14th through 17th in Hartford, Connecticut. Definitely a show you want to check out. I know I said I was going to go to bed, and then I just got off on a tangent here. And I am so excited to finally get to meet Caitlin Barr after having her on the show a couple of times. I would love it if Kineticon announced like Anthony Bowling as well, because then we'd have our data live, especially with season 4 coming out. As sad as I am that he's not directing season 4 because he's staying with One Piece, I would still so badly want to get a chance to meet him in person. And I almost want to say, like, I want to meet him in person, not so much for an autograph, just because I want to just hang out with him. He just is such a cool guy. Like, as an individual, he is just so cool to talk to and so much fun. And I just want to go to a con he's at and hang out with him and have a beer. Or just bullshit over random nonsense. But on that note, I hope everybody has had a wonderful weekend. Have a safe week coming up into Easter. I hope everybody if you celebrate Easter, I hope you have a wonderful Easter celebration. Next week, like I said, our guest is going to be Devira Kai from Big Bucks Entertainment. We're going to be talking about them turning 10 years old this year, which, hats off to them. Big congratulations. 10 is a huge landmark of an accomplishment. I've always been told 1 year is great, 5 years is amazing, 10 years is absolutely astonishing. So 10 years, keep going. We're 2 years away from that. As long as we can keep pushing, I think it would be amazing to still be here. Oh, my kid, we're still going to be here at our 10-year anniversary. So until next week when we have Devira Kai on with us. Also, don't forget, next Saturday, we're going to be welcoming Puchi Con on for a special 1-hour show. So you don't want to miss that. Definitely come hang out with us on the 16th for a very special Puchi Con and very special Puchi Con episode. Until then, like I said, I hope everybody has a wonderful night. We will see you right here again on YouTube, Like I said, if you're new here and you enjoyed tonight's show, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Support us on Patreon if you'd like. The link is right below my picture. It's been up there the whole show. All proceeds that come from Patreon are going to be put right back into the show. It's going to help upgrade equipment, help us to be able to afford to attend more conventions and do more and more conventions means more cosplayer interviews, more connections, and potentially finding more guests like Justin Brenner. If we can get a chance to meet him in person, maybe we can get him on the show that way. It has worked in the past. So, and like I said, until next week, when we welcome Puchi Con on next Saturday and Devira Kai next Sunday, everybody have a wonderful night. Sleep well, and we'll see you right here again on Anime-Zing Radio.